In the year 1978, as the folk and people alliances became established in prison, there was a unity developed between the Latin folk gangs on the north and northwest side of Chicago. This unity was called the United Latino Organization, or ULO for short. This alliance consisted of Spanish Cobras, Latin Disciples, Latin Eagles, and Imperial Gangsters. ULO was established to combat the still rapidly growing Latin King population and the LK's allies under the UPK alliance, also known as Unknowns Players Kings. It was also established to combat the white gangs threatening them, such as the UFO or the United Five organization. All throughout the 1980s, the ULO stood strong and united on the streets and under the pitchfork, and they were also heavily united with other folks near them. In 1991, as inter-alliance wars began sprouting up on the streets of Chicago, the Spanish Cobras and maniac Latin Disciples began to not see eye to eye on drug territory issues. Both gangs were very powerful and were bumping heads. They were both also disagreeing with the Imperial Gangsters, who were also growing quite powerful. Eventually, the three-way war ensued between IG, ISC, and MLDs. The Latin Eagles at first sided with the MLD side of the argument and joined the Maniac Familia created by the MLDs. The MLDs and Latin Eagles carried on the pitchfork, and so did other Maniac gangs such as Milwaukee Kings, Latin Jivers, and Latin Lovers. The other organization was the Insane Familia created by the Spanish Cobras. The Cobras kept unities with the folk gangs that went against Maniac, such as Insane Dragons, Ashland Vikings, Orchestra Albany, and the Harrison Gents. The Imperial Gangsters started their own alliance called the Almighty Family that they built with the Simon City Royals and the North Side Insane Popes. With this complete division, and the wars that resulted, ULO went extinct in 1991 on the streets.